You're trying to be discreet, and you're trying to hide the fact that you're angry and you're hurt and you're confused, and you've always held your emotions in. You've never had vulnerability with anyone. And those who you did by chance have a moment of vulnerability with, they didn't handle that well with you. They abused you, or they shared what you shared with others. They didn't make you feel safe. I'm Kia McLean, the poet, the healing pen coach. I work primarily with women to use the pen as a tool and a resource to heal while journaling. And one of the things that, for me, this may be helpful to someone out there, one of the things for me that happened, especially as I made sure that the effort and the time was put in to go back and read my journal entries, I started to notice this pattern. And I noticed that I was holding so much in, and that as a result of me holding those things, I became angry, and I became bitter, and I became a pessimist. And that became something that other people in my life, unfortunately, those closest to me, were the victims of that energy. They were the victims of my unhappiness with myself. They didn't deserve the energy in which I put out. And I realized that as I was journaling and as I was going back and reading my entries, even as I was just sitting alone with myself, one of the things I think is super important is a lot of times we feel these things, we know these things, we recognize these things, but we're not willing to do something different because the thing that we've continued to do has been safe for us. It's felt comfortable for us. And so we have not wanted to step outside of ourselves to do anything differently, because even though we know that it's not helping us, even though we know it's not aiding us in healing or growing or shifting, sometimes we say that's okay because it's familiar to us. And we'd much rather stay in the familiar space than going into a different space and having a different mindset. And sometimes when you do that, you're concerned with what people are going to say, what people are going to think, how people are going to react to this version of you that is growing, that is understanding things about yourself, becoming more self-aware about how you're moving and how you're acting and reacting. I had to start understanding that I was causing a lot of the strife that was happening in my life. And by going back and reading those journal entries, and by going back and seeing those, recognizing those patterns, even as I wrote, being very specific about what I was feeling and what I was doing, how people were reacting to me, and how I was, behaving towards other people. Even the feedback that I would get from people, it was all helpful for me. And I'm going to be honest, it was very uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable to grow, because guess what types of people were around me when I decided to make this shift? A lot of them were just like me. And then some of them were just accepting of my bad behavior. And even that needed to change, right? And so I think that it's imperative to understand that when you are growing and you are shifting and you understand that this healing is an opportunity, it's an opportunity to be the person that you were always intended to be. You're not being fake and phony. You're not changing and switching up. You're just becoming the full version of who you're supposed to be. So if you're interested in working with me, go out to my website, click the link in my bio, kiascoaching.com, to connect with me for the next journaling workshop, where we're going to go deep and we're going to start talking about how to take the negative behavior, the negative thoughts, and transform that. Start to doing the work that's going to allow us to pivot. All right? Until next time. Peace.